Welcome back, everybody, to the Nissim Black Show. Pleasure as always. Listen, today it's very hard to distinguish, I wouldn't say distinguish. It's very hard to look into the future and see what's going to be. That November of 2028, when the election actually happens, we actually don't know what's going on. Israel's losing support on all sides. It is so rare sometimes, it feels like, to see somebody in these times to stand up, whether it's in Congress, whether it's in Senate, wherever it is, to actually speak on the behalf of Israel, speak on behalf of the Jewish people, and actually show what it is, right, that's been taking place really over the last 2 years. If we were just to isolate that, Tom Cotton's one of those guys that will stand up and will tell his truth. Now, I want to react to a speech that he gave recently. Basically, it's just showing no pity to Hamas. It's just no pity to them, showing that, it's important for people to understand the level and the magnitude of what happened. Not forget about the destruction. This much of Gaza is destroyed or whatever. Let's talk about the leadership that's been destroyed from Hamas. Let's talk about the elimination of the leaders from Hezbollah. Let's talk about the elimination from the leaders from Tehran, from Iran. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about people that by and large, even most people that are crazy enough to actually think that there's something to be pro about the pro-Palestinian cause or whatever it is. Okay, even given that, even those people know that these people are still terrorists, right? At least I would like to hope to think that a good amount of these people know they're still evil people. Regardless if they feel that they have to defend them to defend the people, evil's evil, and evil is being eradicated. And that's a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing. This is absolutely a good thing. So let's see what Tom Cotton had to say about this.
At long last, our friends in Israel have won the war by defeating the depraved Hamas savages that launched the heinous, unprovoked attack from Gaza on October 7th. After the most devastating assault on Jews since the Holocaust, which was followed by 2 years of fighting, suffering, and death, the living hostages are home, and a new day has dawned in the Middle East.
And a beautiful day it has been. Listen, and anybody who was a hostage, we were so happy. I know, I think his name was Ron Brafalowski. I actually did a video for him when he was away, just doing something to create awareness that we had hostages. Some of the hostages that I also did videos for, they did not make it back. But thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, that our hostages have returned home. Although I don't feel that the war is officially over, we have a long way to go.
Earlier this week, I joined my fellow Arkansans in rejoicing and thanking God for answering our prayers and bringing those hostages home to their families. At the same time we celebrate their reunions, though, we also pledge that we will never forget the innocent deceased victims of Hamas's atrocities, many of whom have not yet been properly laid to rest. We will work to secure their remains and honor their memory through our commitment to a lasting and enduring peace in the Middle East. When terrorists attacked, raped, maimed, and killed innocent Israelis and Americans and citizens of other nations on October 7th, the Middle East was forever changed, but not in the way Hamas intended. Instead of pressuring Israel to surrender, President Trump rejected the Obama-Biden policy of appeasement and weakness, and we backed Israel to the hilt.
And that's because you can't deal with these people with weakness. They don't understand it. You're not speaking their language, right? So they don't even understand that. Thank God Trump won that election.
Because of President Trump's unrelenting pressure on Hamas and Prime Minister Netanyahu's decisive military action, Iran's terrorist ring of fire around Israel is now a ring of smoke, smoking ruins. We have crippled Iran's nuclear weapons program. We have weakened the Houthis. We have devastated Hezbollah. And we have destroyed Hamas's political and military leadership. This graphic shows just some of the depraved savages who are now rotting in hell. If you have a chance to be Hamas's next leader, you might want to think twice.
He just said the quiet thing out loud, right? He just said the quiet, like, why did these people keep stepping up? And the reason why they do keep stepping up, which we all know, is because they're a death cult. It's a death cult. They take pleasure in dying. I think there was something that one of the leaders that said at the beginning of the war, said that you guys, you Jews, right? You guys are tired of dying. You don't have no longer the will, to fight and to die for this. We're ready to die, they said, right? And that's what they've been showing. So, of course, this is the reason why they keep, signing up. The problem with this is that, like, I see if you think that death and all that is honorable and all those other things, but don't you want to win, right? But if you keep losing, if everybody keeps dying, so you dying in vain, like, it's not victory is that what you're after? It's death that you're after? That's the one thing I don't understand about this society.
This is how we deliver peace through strength. Though good has once again triumphed over evil, we must keep the pressure on to compel Hamas to demilitarize once and for all. As President Trump said this week, if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. Because let's be clear, there can be no lasting peace for Gaza with Hamas sitting at the table. For those who say otherwise, consider that as the rest of the world celebrates the return of the hostages and a ceasefire, Hamas terrorists have been publicly executing members of the opposition in Gaza in a last-ditch effort to hang on to their waning power. This is appalling, but not surprising, given Hamas's track record of using the people of Gaza as pawns to achieve its ultimate aim of eliminating Israel. Time and again, we've seen Hamas use innocent people as human shields and weaponize humanitarian aid by withholding food and supplies from children. These are the sort of vile intimidation tactics that Hamas terrorists have used for decades to remain in power.
And what's interesting about this is that as this was all going on, there was evidence of it. There was video footage, and there was pictures, there was many images. A lot of the things that they were actually saying was going on, there was no video as evidence of it. There was a lot of Hollywood. And people didn't even think about it. There's a lot of Hollywood. However, there was no actual video evidence of these things, of people getting killed at humanitarian zones and all that. They didn't show any proof of the starvation and all that. When they all got found out to be hoax, then that leaves you with what evidence for the things that they were saying. But the evidence that Hamas is doing what they're doing, like this, the whole thing is, we're talking about from October 7th, when the people incriminated themselves by filming what the atrocities that they caused, that they did. They filmed it. They're not hiding. That's what's so crazy about all of this.
No more. Today, with our friends in Israel and the Arab world, we have the opportunity to chart a path toward peace and prosperity for the people of Gaza. And while today is a day for rejoicing, let it also serve as a reminder of one of history's timeless lessons. Bad things happen when you lose a war, especially when you started the war. These men can attest to that lesson. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
I just couldn't have said it better myself. And, it's just so amazing. We need more people to stand up and to be able to call that out. I mean, real life examples of what happens when you mess around and you mess around with the wrong people at the wrong time. I mean, and this idea of all these people, so we're talking about before, this false moral equivalency. We're not running around, filming ourselves doing destruction and being destructive. And, life is valuable here in Israel. We actually care. Not only in Israel, in the West, we value life. And one of the things that I'm coming to realize even more and more is the fact that people that live in the West, people that are in the West, they live in the West and they have a Western mentality, it's very hard for them to even fathom. And that's where we get to. It's very hard for them to even fathom a world in which there could be people, there could be a society that doesn't value life. It's like, wow, how can that ever be? That they actually don't value life. And it's hard reality, but it is reality. It just happens to be reality. So listen, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Please, again, make sure you like, subscribe, notification bell, and if you can, make sure that you pick up some merch. Nissim Black .store. Make sure you get yourself a cup, t-shirt, something, help and support this channel. Also, you can sign up for Glory Nation, which is my online community where we go deep into prayer and how to protect ourselves from being idiots. See you guys in the next video.